Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fun and Games Podcast. I'm Geoff Moonen, and you're listening to our PAX West 2025 recap special. Matt wasn't able to join us on the trek out to the West Coast due to scheduling, but we were joined by our associate producer, Sarah Moonen, who is here today.
Hey, everyone.
Sarah, PAX West was a lot of fun.
I had an absolute blast. We did miss you, Matt, of course, but it also let me and Geoff run around and be gremlins on our own.
And we definitely were. It felt like an organized kind of Untethered, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a very organized person, dear.
Oh, yeah. And despite what everyone else thinks on this podcast, I can be very organized. I just find it's easier to let you two do it.
Yes.
That being said, we did get a lot checked out and a lot to see, and we sort of started things off, I don't know, we like to cover indie games and we like to be an indie-forward production, but we sort of started our PAX West off being kind of big shots, didn't we?
Yeah, I think it's also worth noting that the thing that's really different about PAX West than PAX East is that there's a much bigger show from some of the AAA developers. Not only did we see more, there just was more, in my opinion.
I would agree. The fact that the West Coast, Seattle, it's a lot closer to Nintendo's headquarters here in America and a lot of other developers means that they don't have to travel as far. And I think that has something to do with their presence. And yeah, no, the timing was, I think Nintendo had the two largest booths on the floor.
The two biggest. And together that just made mega gigantic crazy booth, one of which they had a warp pipe pass that you could have signed up for in advance to skip the line, which I know you did, Geoff, for Pokemon ZA.
Yes.
And the other one, which had just kind of a smattering of all their other games that are coming out. Sadly, they only had one station of 4 switches to play Silk Song on. Several of us were kind of disappointed to not get our hands on that.
Yeah, and it was also a separate line. This very large Nintendo booth that had Hades 2, that had Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, that had Elden Ring, that had all kinds of stuff with screens aplenty, units aplenty, and a line of small tables with 4 handhelds apiece at each of those tables to let you try some of these games out as well in handheld mode. Silk Song was only at one of those tables, and I believe you had to be in a specific line separate from the main one to get the chance to play Silk Song.
Which we didn't even get to do, but that's okay. We did take our press hour where we get to go an hour before the rest of the folks get let in. We feel very special.
Oh, yes.
And play the rest of those games you mentioned. It was my first time playing Elden Ring, and I was bad at it. I also was naked because I picked that character, so that was a choice.
Of course. I mean, why wouldn't you? Be wretched.
Yeah. Also, I hadn't really played much Hades since I'm not a huge roguelike fan, but I had a lot of fun with Hades too. It actually made me consider trying Hades.
Yeah, I would consider Hades as one of those where, yeah, Sarah, I do know that you're not a huge fan of roguelike mechanics in general, and certainly action roguelikes, but even the first Hades was a really good gateway, or even if you don't further get into the genre, it's very approachable, it's very fun, it's very atmospheric and character driven as well. So there's a lot of angles to get into it. And Hades 2 continues that. I know Matt has an early access copy. I have not played it early access at all. It's one of those games where I know it's got my money. I know I'm going to be playing it. So I'm just letting it develop.
And then I think we both got our hands on Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, although you did yours at our Square Enix appointment, whereas I got to play it on a Switch on the floor at Nintendo. And I mean, it looked beautiful.
It looked beautiful and it played fantastic. It was very smooth. It felt great. It was immersive. I also love Final Fantasy VII in all its forms, and this just continues that trend. It was my first time playing Elden Ring as well, and it was very funny being in a unit next to somebody who was just memeing about it, and I'm just going to dodge roll and see how I do. I had a lot of fun with it, to be honest.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Speaking of stuff we had a lot of fun with, we actually met somebody in the Nintendo booth from Bandai Namco that was a good salesperson who sent us over to play those games.
Yeah.
I played Pac-Man World 2, which I haven't played since the GameCube. And oh no, I'm going to lose a lot of time to that game, Geoff. there's so many things to collect. You collect like one orange and there's 10 oranges and 3 cherries. And I was like, I want to collect all the things. And it had a way better interface and, all the quality of life upgrades that we expect from modern games were in this. And you get to be Pac-Man bouncing on your butt.
Oh, yeah. Well, the past couple of years 3D collectathons never really went away, but it really feels like people have been stepping up their game in large and small studios, and that genre, it's kind of losing the stigma it had after the N64. And I think we're all benefiting from it. In particular, you are benefiting from it.
I sure am, and you'll see some of this in my top 5 when we get there.
Yeah. As for me at Bandai, John, who was the one who sent us over, was saying like, oh, did you guys like Hades 2? Yeah. Well, you really need to try out Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree, which, it had a very similar vibe. It was another one of those isometric view action roguelike, but different setting, a lot of different play styles inherent within it. You are going between 2 characters and you get to choose which of those 2 characters you take with you on a run, but you're really kind of playing one and the other is kind of your support. And you choose that from a larger roster.
Yes.
Every run can be a little different that way, in addition to the usual roguelike procedural generation of your obstacles. It was a lot of fun and a lot of good anime nonsense, I'd say.
Agreed.
It'd be one thing to just say, oh, yeah, we played at some of the bigger booths on Friday, the first day. But I think the other, big shot feeling was we took about 2 hours at the Square Enix area, which was off the floor, getting to try out some of their titles. Both Sarah and I got to play a bit of Final Fantasy Tactics, the Evil East Chronicles, which will be coming out at the end of this month, September. That's where I got to play some more Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate on the Switch 2, and Sarah got to try out Octopath Traveler 0. So both Sarah and I playing Final Fantasy Tactics, I thought was a really fun thing of viewpoint, because Final Fantasy Tactics is one of those games that I grew up with, one of those inherent to my DNA. And so I went into that looking to see what improvements were made, what was brought forth, what was lost, anything like that. And Sarah, you've never played Final Fantasy Tactics.
I have not.
It was interesting for both of us to go with a fanatic's and a newbie's eyes on the whole thing.
Honestly, I didn't think there was going to be so much story in a tactics game, but I enjoyed the story that they showed us. It was really pretty. I'm still not a huge tactics game fan.
Right.
But I could see really enjoying this one.
The game comes out, we play it, it's not to your liking. We just put together a supercut of, here's the 8 seasons of Game of Thrones Final Fantasy Edition.
Yeah. I'm in. Or you could just, while you play it, call me over when the cutscenes are happening and I'll understand what's up. I think for me, it's more about not being able to control the battle in the way that I want to.
Well, that changes over time. So, we'll see what happens when we get our hands on the game. Based on the time that we spent at PAX West on it, I know I'm going to enjoy it. I'm already happy about it. At the moment, I am sort of the stance of, I don't think the quality of life upgrades are going to convert the non-tactics player. But if you like that kind of game at all, or if you were curious about it, you don't have to have a history with Final Fantasy Tactics. You don't have to have played the game before to be excited about it. I really think the quality of life upgrades that they did are really fantastic.
The art style as well was really interesting because it was like brushstroke style art that evoked the 8-bit, 16-bit style without it being blocky.
It helps, too, that the original PS1 version, the sprite animations that went into this game, especially during the cutscenes, were always showy and fun and dramatic. During the battles themselves, there's a little bit of like you're moving your pieces and your troops around, but I am very much looking forward to how this graphical style carries through into those cutscenes. We already see a little bit of it in the intros to the battles that we saw, especially because we saw the opening battle and a very climactic one of Act 2. So we got a little bit of it, but I'm excited to see more.
I'm also excited to see more about Octopath Traveler 0. I know you didn't get to watch this with me, Geoff, because you were busy playing Final Fantasy Tactics. But
yeah, I saw a little bit of the intro video that they gave us.
Rewinding to the original Octopath Traveler, I played the heck out of it. I really enjoyed it. It was the kind of turn-based RPG I liked. There were characters that were to my taste. I enjoyed it a lot. I know a lot of people had criticisms of the game. The stories didn't intertwine. They fixed that in Octopath Traveler 2, which admittedly I had completely forgotten existed and started playing after we booked these appointments with Square Enix so that I could understand the trajectory of how this went.
Yeah.
Now, Octopath Traveler 0 is not just Octopath Traveler 3, right? It's not the same thing again with more. It feels like a different kind of entry into the series. First off, you make your main character. There's a character builder, therefore you're more of a silent protagonist than you've ever been in an Octopath Traveler game before, right? Because you get to pick who your lead character is, even when you're in Octopath Traveler 2 going between the worlds and having a main character and then building out your party. They're still pre-generated part of the campaign characters. This is a make your own character. That character also gets to build things in town. There's a city town builder, usually not to my taste, but actually This is the town you keep going back to. So I put stuff I wanted to be in that town.
Yeah, it's not a sim game. It is actively part of your adventure.
Yeah, and the biggest difference is you have an 8-person party. In this game, you have a front row and a back row. You can pretty easily switch between them, and the easiest way to switch between them is by having the person in the front row die, and then the person in the back row comes up. There is apparently a lot of strategy to how you use this. In the small time we had the game, I didn't get a chance to look into it. To be perfectly frank, when you don't recruit these characters and learn how to level them up and what their specialties are, it's a little bit tough to figure out the strategy. But even still, I was having a blast going in and fighting and figuring out that this other character I'm talking to is clearly going to join my party too. And you know me, I don't like switching out people in RPGs. So if you give me 8 player spots, I'm going to be really happy because I can just have a lot of people with me all the time.
Right. And if it seems as though that's mostly your party the whole time, that's a real sticking point for you. When it's they have to go away for a while, or you're forcing me to use this character. Like those times we had to use Junpei in Persona 3.
We don't use him.
We don't use Junpei. But that sounds exciting, and it does sound fairly tactical. And you raise a really good point about one of the difficulties of demos is conveying a lot and giving a good taste of the experience, but with the understanding that if you're dropped into it, you don't know what you're doing with these characters. Playing Evil East Chronicles, I knew what each of those job classes did and do. So when we went into the second battle, it's like, okay, here's Ramza. Here's the people that are coming with you. Do you want an archer, a summoner, a white mage, a geomancer, a knight? You sort of are choosing the classes, and I know what their intentions are and what those things do. You have no idea, and you have to figure it out on the fly, and we have a limited amount of time with which to do it.
Yeah, I didn't know what anyone did. I just hit.
This is fair.
Except heal. The one person who could heal, I could heal. And the chocobo. The chocobo, I was like, peck or heal.
That's true. They put Boko in the party. How could we say no?
No, he was an option.
I know. You could say no.
I didn't look at anybody else. I saw chocobo face, human faces, chocobo face.
Exactly. I do plan on talking more about Final Fantasy Tactics outside of the episode in the future. But after that, after we kind of played all of the big ticket items, I suppose, on our dance card, we then started getting into a lot of the smaller games and a lot of the things that we love to see and cover and promote at PAXs.
So we typically have an opinion on what the trend is at PAX, right? Last time, I believe it was rhythm RPGs, I think.
It's just rhythm blank.
Yeah, rhythm hyphen. This time, there were a lot of card battlers and a lot of narrative games.
Yes, I would say so. There was definitely a point midway through. I didn't get to follow through with this, but I kind of went, I just want an entire day and see how many deck builders I can play in a single day. I certainly clocked a bunch that I never got my hands on, and several that I did, and a lot of them are very good. It's not to say that there's too many or that it's bad. It's just, golly, but there was a lot of them. And I think the other thing that I noticed that we didn't really get a chance to delve into, but is worth noting, is there was a few pieces of interesting hardware that were out on the floor. The PAX Rising area of PAX is sort of where a lot of noteworthy indies or smaller studios are all congregated. So it's a nice, easy, one-stop spot to kind of go, well, I know this game. What other cool, funky things are there? And something that always had a line, which was one of the reasons I didn't check it out, was a game called Sashimi Slayer that is a rhythm game that utilizes a sword controller. It is an open source sword controller based off of the research I've done since coming back. It has a motion controller, so it knows what angle you're holding the sword. As things fly up from the water, you are supposed to do that sort of like anime quick unsheath sheath of the sword. And by doing that, as soon as you unsheath the sword, it senses you've broken contact and it slashes. And then you reset it by putting it back. Everybody's standing there kind of tilting their sword and just doing the quick little anime flash. It was enticing to say the least, but it's also why there was always a huge line every time we passed by it.
You know I'm all for a weird controller. I think we talked about on a MagFest wrap once, you know, the hat controller and the skateboard controller and things like that. I think it's fun. One of the things that I believe some of our friends who talked to the developers were saying was, how do you get this in the hands of consumers? Because this game is really meant to be played with that peripheral. But look, we've got Donkey Kongas. We've got a little crossbow thingy. There's plenty of peripherals that people will buy for the right game.
And are you trying to tell me a nerd doesn't want a sword?
I can't tell you that.
You can't tell me that. I know there are nerds that don't want swords. Or maybe go, I have enough swords, thank you. Which, you know what? Valid. I love that it's sort of technology that they were developing that thus makes an open source sword controller. Just saying that is amazing, which is why I'm saying it so much.
Speaking of peripherals, we also got to play with the light guns. Yes,
we received an email from a company that I believe it is pronounced Game, but they have spelled it G''AIM, aim like the gun, ''E. Game.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize that it was aim like the gun until you just said that.
But it's in the center. It's the bullseye of the word.
I know. I feel very silly.
This is okay. This is why we try again. This is gaming. Both Sarah and I are huge fans of classic light gun games. One of Sarah's favorite arcade cabinets is Police Trainer. And I grew up with an off-brand, not GunCon, not Justifier, kind of PS1, PS2 light gun that I played Area 51, I played Point Blank, I played Ninja Assault, I played Die Hard 2, Die Harder from Die Hard Trilogy because it had light gun support. But all of this precluded CRT technology. It's how it worked. And so when we switched to HDTV's LCD technology, it no longer worked, which is why you don't see as many light gun games, if at all. But there have been a few hardware developers that are trying to bring that back, one of which was the Sinden light gun, which has a lot of coverage across a lot of different games, but it has a lot of extra hardware setup involved. So you need to set up a white border around your monitor screen in the actual monitor itself. If you want it to work on original hardware, you need to set up a Raspberry Pi and a lot of other pieces. It's not very plug and play, but it is very effective once you get it up and running. What Game is doing is similar technology, but they partnered with Bandai Namco in order to have official updates to Time Crisis, Point Blank, and Steel Gunner 1 and 2. They all work off of similar arcade boards on a sort of plug-and-play console that the light gun units that they have work with. One of the difficulties that we saw in the initial email and we discussed with the developers about was it talked about using AI technology in its functioning. Now, AI is definitely a touchy bit of phrasing.
It means nothing and everything these days.
Exactly. Is it generative AI, which is the stuff that I certainly am railing against, and I'm not alone in that? Is it analytical AI, which has been part of a lot of software for a very long time and is, in fact, seen as by a lot of people as where AI development should be going? Not ChatGPT, but the ability to parse through a lot of data and find cancer cells, clean up audio, or tell exactly what in the camera of your light gun is a TV screen and where is it pointing, which is what this unit is doing. It's using a database that the company put together of images of TVs in all kinds of light in all kinds of areas. It is analyzing up against the database, not a learning model, an LLM or anything like that, and just knowing whether or not you've hit or not. It's kind of the next evolution of how the CRT light guns worked. It flashes for a moment, checks the image, looks for a hit. That's all it is.
Usually for me, because I'm doing better than you.
I don't know. I did pretty well on Time Crisis there.
Well, you were playing that one alone. We were playing Point Blank together.
I did pretty well on Time Crisis, though.
We both did. It was good.
This is fair.
And it was interesting talking to the folks there. They were saying kids would come up and be like, oh, fine, I guess I'll play this old game with you, Dad, and then be way better than they are. In our experience with gaming with kids, anything with motion controls is really intuitive to them. And light guns have that same kind of feel. You know where you're pointing it. You know what you're doing. We almost bought one on the spot. Unfortunately, you need to be a certain distance away from your TV, and our New York City apartment doesn't really allow for that.
And the people at Game are looking to expand to other titles, to other companies, and that will probably require new units, but I think the guns will carry over and see where this tech takes them. If nothing else, it's a fantastic proof of concept. It will be going to retail at some point, hopefully next year in 2026. I am a little sad that our apartment living room isn't 3 meters wide, which is, I think, as much distance as we need for the size TV that we have. But I hope a lot of other people check it out, and I hope that this does well. That being said, we did play a lot of games, and there are a lot of interviews at the end of this episode that will cover a lot of different companies, a lot of different things, and we'll touch on those at the end. But we do want to talk about our favorite games that we saw. Given that it's just me and Sarah, I think we'll do top 5s because that will give us a nice tidy 10. Sarah, would you like to kick us off?
You betcha. So my number 5 game is a game called Unsent, developed by Slimeware and published by Slimeware in partnership with Red Rabbit Games. You are Valentine, a little heart-faced guy in the regulatory realm. So this is where capitalism takes you in your worst nightmares. He was moved off of his old job where he was in the back-breaking department. You know, when you step on a crack, well, he was sent to go break your mother's back. And that's the kind of humor that this game brings. But it doesn't just bring humor. It also brings a tale of loss, dealing with feelings where you are in a world that is unfamiliar. It's a platformer. You collect things. You talk to weird people. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm so thrilled to be able to share that it's in my top 5. There is a demo available on Steam, so you can check it out for yourself, see what I mean. Check out this weird, bizarre bureaucracy for yourself and fall in love like I did.
My number 5 game is Black Jacket from Mipumi Games and published by Skystone Games. We have an interview with David Brevik of Skystone Games at the end of this episode, and actually chatting with him and hearing about Black Jacket is what got me to check it out. This is sort of my representative of all of the deck building games that we played. This one was sold to us as Balatro but Blackjack, which is already deeply enticing, but it actually has a little more inscription to it. It is a game that Blackjack is a little more inherently against the dealer kind of feeling one-on-one. It's not just don't bust, it's get the higher total. So you are in the afterlife and you are playing Blackjack against people you have wronged for souls. And you are building a deck that has all kinds of curses and problems, and you can put nonsense cards into each other's decks. Slay the Spire style kind of deck building where it's not just get the high score, it's survive. And there is the strategic element of only able to play up to 5 cards, and some of the spaces alter what the cards are, and so you change them throughout. It's a little more suspenseful. It's a little more combative. It's a little more terrifying, and I had a lot of fun playing it, and I look forward to seeing where it goes. It doesn't currently have a demo out, but you can see what I mean a little bit even if you visit the Steam page and just watch the trailer. You get a sense of what's going on. The very basic conceit is straightforward enough, simple enough. You can get started, and then it goes from there.
This is one that Geoff and I fought over whose top 5 list it was going to be on. I'm going to lose a lot of time to Black Jacket.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be another one of those. There will be many hours racked up, and we'll see who skews the Steam playtime on this one.
I also won't be able to play it at night, like Balatro.
I mean, for several reasons on this one, though.
And it's scary.
Exactly. It's so good.
All right. Moving on to number 4. I think Geoff may have mentioned playing this on our PAX East wrap, but I didn't get my hands on it until West.
And by the time I was playing it at PAX East, it was the last day. I was so punchy. I don't know if I would have been able to cohesively tell you and Matt about it.
That's fair.
It was so good, though.
Fresh Tracks, published and developed by Buffalo, is a rhythm skiing roguelike game. So what does that even mean? I don't know. Doesn't matter. It was a huge bop. Basically, you are skiing down a mountain on one of 3 tracks. In addition to being able to move between those 3 tracks, you can lean to the right and the left, which really makes you feel like you're skiing. You crouch down, you jump up, and you chop trees with a sword, I think it is.
I think so.
All I can say is the mechanics make so much sense, right? For a rhythm game to be doing skiing like this, I felt like I was skiing down the mountain. I was bopping along to the music. I was having a great time. I was still singing the songs in my head hours later. This game is awesome. And the roguelike element, which again, I don't usually love, is actually picking a finished map. So like with DDR, right? You can learn the steps to all of your things. You can learn how to play each song. It's a deck shuffle, right? Which ones are available to you when you get to the next level. I really, really enjoyed this. Also, there's a lot of lore within it. There's, Geoff, you maybe remember better than I do, but there's spirits of the mountain or something like that.
Yes, there's 4 sort of divine spirits there that are each helping or hindering your journey. And they also are each associated with a specific genre of music. So when you are doing their tracks, you are playing heavy metal or pop. The soundtrack itself has a very theatrical quality to it. We have the vinyl record of the soundtrack, and it's almost a rock opera listening to it like this. It's really fun. The gameplay elements, it makes me think of things like Sayonara Wild Hearts, motion and choice. It's simple stuff, but you're doing this during music, so it doesn't need to be fighting combos. You still feel part of the music and connected to it. Or Taito's Groove Coaster, that same kind of like jump, crouch, slash, move. And there's no one specific way to move because there are collectibles and things that you pick up as you go through these stages. And you'll go and realize, oh, crap, I missed that one, or something that's a little on but off beat, which also encourages you to try these stages again. The roguelike choices of these deliberately made tracks is part of the main quest, but after you've played any of these tracks, you can then sort of play them in free play mode. So you can get better at these, you can play them, or you can just go and play your favorite song.
I'm going to get good.
You're going to get good. We're both going to get good. I love when you said that you were humming the music hours after, because I looked back on my notes from PAX East and I wrote the exact same thing.
Well, the good news is this game is out.
Yes.
Us and everybody else can play it.
Everybody can check it out. Give it a look. You'll know if it's your vibe. It's good. It's our vibe. Speaking of a game that is very much my vibe, my number 4 is Fallen Thier: The Ascension from Winter Cruise Studios, being published by CMD Studios. This is an action Metroidvania that tries to bring in JRPG storytelling and even a little bit of party mechanics into how you navigate the world. You have your main character that you are moving about with, jumping, dropping, double jumping, attacking, flash stepping with radial control stick controls, all of those fast motions that we've come to associate with an action Metroidvania these days. But you also have party members that you bring with you that add moves that you sort of pull up and use the D-pad for. And in fact, when you have a full party, you can kind of do shit, everybody, let's go, which was very fun to use on the boss fight that I did. It's got a Q1 2026 release date planned at the moment. The demo that I played is actually shorter than the one that's currently being offered on Steam. The Steam demo is a little over an hour from what I was told. It has a little more story. You'll get to know the world a little bit better, whereas what they showed us at PAX West was a little tighter, a little more combat and arena based, so that more than 5 people a day could play through the demo. The controls take a moment, but once you lock in, it feels smooth. I was trying out all kinds of wild strategies. I was figuring out how to handle one enemy or another that sort of like you can dash through them. So when they're about to strike, you get that right timing. You dash past them. So you're behind them. They miss and you get a free hit in. All of those little pieces of just satisfying motion then you can start taking on, short missions and all sorts of development of your character as well. So I'm very excited to tear into this game, no pun intended, when we get a little more of it.
Awesome. My number 3 is a game called Bytebond, developed by DVD Unicorns and published by Anshar Publishing. Don't threaten me with a good co-op puzzler because it's definitely going to make my list. So imagine if BB-8 and Astrobot did the fusion dance. That's what you look like. You're a little ball-shaped, I guess antivirus software is the story behind it.
Yes.
You're put into a computer and there's 2 of you, one on the left, one on the right. I actually don't know if you can play it solo, but it doesn't seem like you can because it really is a co-op experience. The puzzles are pretty much get from left side of the screen to right side of the screen in a 3D environment. In the demo that we played, the puzzles were getting light between you. So there's like a source of light. You take the light and you can pass it to your other person who can sometimes get places you can't because you need to stand on something with the light. The puzzles felt fun. You felt smart when you did them. The combat was also the same as the puzzles. So in order to fight the virus.
Right.
You surround it, you pass the light between you, and the light dissolves them. I really, really enjoyed this. This was one of the games at the Polish Games booth, the Games from Poland. I kept seeing people play it and was going, that's a game for me. That's a game for me. And we finished an interview and I was like, Geoff, we got to go play Bytebond. And you were like, oh, I might go play something else. I'm like, no, you have to play this with me. Not only was it a good game, it was a good game for us.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun to solve together. It was just the right amount of logistics. When you take charges, the little ball that you're on gets bigger. So sometimes they make small areas that you can't get past if you have too much of the charge. So you have to figure out who carries it, who sets it, who does it. It gives great opportunities to sort of discuss how you tackle these puzzles, how you go about them. It's never any one person's responsibility to handle everything. You can do as much or as little as you need to within it. I think according to the Steam page, it says it does have single player option, but I don't know how that's going to play out. But it does have online and couch co-op. And I do love seeing great ideas like this that are carrying couch co-op forward and continuing it.
Same. And we can also tease an interview that we have later from a studio that really, truly believes in couch co-op.
Absolutely. Well, my number 3 is Blocks for Babies from Bunksoft Interactive. This one really caught my eye when I got the press email about it because they have a very simple GIF that showcases the concept easily. It is a hybrid of Tetris and Doom. You are doing a falling blocks puzzle trying to make things fit and work. Every few drops, you get a little square reticle that pops up. You pick a part of the field that then becomes the play field for a first-person shooter. Some of the blocks are corrupted and won't disappear if you make a full line. You have to shoot them in order to get rid of them. Some blocks have items for you that can help you during those segments. So you have to be strategic about how many corrupted blocks you're taking out versus what is going to help you out, because you do have limited ammo and these things do shoot fire at you. So running up to them and just punching them, while effective, is dangerous, and you have limited life here. And it's all wrapped up in a cute little thing of you're helping a child clean up the blocks from their room, but they don't know all of the evil stuff that's going on. So you're helping kids out. It's nice and a lot of fun. If you want to check it out for yourself, there is a demo on Steam. I don't know if it's the same one that we played at PAX West, but all I know is that if you beat the demo, you got a little ribbon that said #1 best baby. And a surprising number of people were very motivated to be #1 best babies, including me. But I'm also a #1 best baby. I have the ribbon to prove it.
My number 2 was so very close in contention for my number 1. I was going back and forth and back and forth. But my number 2 is Bubsy 4D, developed by Fabraz and published by Atari. We had such a good time playing this game. You may remember me talking about Demon Tides back at East. This is developed by the same studio, but in some ways it's so much simpler, which makes the platforming way more fun. When I was playing Demon Tides, there were certain moves that I was like, oh, shoot, if I put that in the middle there, I don't know how it works. I don't know. There was enough going on with Bubsy. This was amazing. The thing I have to say the most about Bubsy is that it's a super fun 3D action platformer. Don't let the 4D title, throw you off. It is a 3D platformer. And the world of Bubsy has gotten its time, right? We know that the original Bubsy series is not always seen in the nicest of lights, but it was made with a lot of love. This is something that Atari resurrected the property and made a really fun game out of. We have an interview that talks a little bit about more what that was like with our friend Sam from Atari that we've known for a while now.
Who very much championed this development.
Yeah, it's really exciting to hear. And this game is so much fun. I'm going to play a ton of it. I'm going to get really good. I kept dying because I was trying stupid stuff. And I want to try more stupid stuff, but be good enough to not keep dying.
I mean, that is the goal, isn't it?
It really is. It's a super fun game. I'm sad that there's no demo out yet that y'all can see, but it's going to be a good one.
It was very fun watching you play it, and I look forward to when I can play a demo as well.
Also, we met the Bubsy.
My number 2 is No Stone Unturned from Wise Monkey Entertainment. This was also a PAX Rising showcase game. It's sort of a comedy point-and-click mystery game, suffused with mini-games. This feels a lot like if somebody who just grew up playing old point-and-click LucasArts games, Scum games, decided to make Disco Elysium. You are an amnesiac detective trying to solve a case, except everyone's animals. You're a squirrel trying to solve why did the chicken cross the road, and it just has the most over-the-top comedic narration to all of it and a very weird, wacky, and all-over-the-place sense of humor. The short demo that we played, which you can play on Steam, contained no less than 4-5 minigames. It was all very WarioWare in you're doing this mundane thing. Suddenly, we do this. And it becomes a different game as we continue onwards. It stays exciting. It stays surprising, certainly during the playthrough that we did. I do want to know, why did the chicken cross the road?
All right. Apparently what you need to get into my number 1 at a PAX is pop punk nostalgia with a wheeled mode of transportation.
Yeah.
Because last time it was Tanuki Pon's Adventure, where you were, Tony Hawk BMX bike delivering things. This time we've got RollerGirl. RollerGirl, developed and published by Pushing Vertices, is the story of the dev's life growing up in a small town in Canada. You're rollerblading around town because your car broke down and you're listening to your MP3 player. It's very much a fetch quest game. Take this thing to this person, deliver these papers to make the money because you're just trying to get some money to get your car back. But that's not what makes this game special. That is the playground in which you're playing in, but your MP3 player is what makes it special. There's some kick-ass pop punk music on there. Depending on which mood of music you choose, the environment changes. The way the NPCs react to you change. I don't know, my 16-year-old heart from back then is like this. This is the experience of being a 16-year-old.
Yeah, and a lot of these sorts of games and these sorts of narratives, it's more about evoking the feeling than getting all of the facts exactly right. Because if we got the facts exactly right, then it'd be true, and that's unacceptable. It's more fun to feel the vibe. And RollerGirl definitely has the vibe.
Oh, this was such vibes. I was on the demo for a while because I wasn't actually completing the quest because I just really enjoyed skating around and listening to the music. It was phenomenal. I really enjoyed the experience of it. That's how it eked out over Bubsy for me. Vibes.
Vibes is important. I mean, my number 1 also has a lot of vibes to it, but they're very different.
Yeah, pretty different vibes.
Vibes means a lot of things. And I suppose what it takes for number 1 for me at a PAX in 2025 is be published by DreadXP, because my number 1 is The Secret of Weepstone, which is being developed by Talesworth Game Studio, a first-person dungeon crawler, kind of a throwback to OSR-style RPG games, old-school revival, that kind of late 70s, early 80s, go in the dungeon, death is around every corner for you. You start with a party of 6 level 0 commoners, townspeople, going into the castle to try to find what they can, find secrets, find treasure. Maybe you do well, maybe you don't. There's a lot of things that are kept secret from you. It's not the sort of modern 5th edition heroic fantasy. This is a very different kind of fantasy, but it was very fun. When one of my party members died, it wasn't disappointing or upsetting. It just moved the story forward. Presented in a pure black and white pen and ink graphical style that evokes the art from those books, from those adventures, to the cross-hatching that shows up in the shadows as you turn corners with the active lighting engine in the game. There's a little bit of point and click to this as well. In solving the puzzles and moving things forward, it reminded me of playing Shadowgate on the NES, just figuring things out in a dungeon crawler. And I don't know if I'll ever play kind of a first edition D&D style game with people, but this is the next best thing, and I'm so excited for when a demo finally comes out, because unfortunately the demo at PAX West was the only demo that's out at the moment. So when there is a public one, I will probably be talking about it because I'm so excited.
I mean, we're not the only ones who are so excited. A little plug for the Patreon is that I think this is the longest on-the-floor interview we've ever had.
It was, before I started editing, 44 minutes. I have now edited it down to about 40. You, me, and Sean and Hunter had a great chat about the game, about development, about D&D, about game design. The scant few minutes you get here will give you an idea of the game, but the conversation was just so fun.
That's what happens when you get a bunch of nerds together.
That's exactly what happens. I mean, isn't that what this podcast is? Getting a bunch of nerds together, just talking about games?
I wouldn't know anything about that. I'm just a special guest.
Of course. But those are my and Sarah's top 5 games. Those are the games that were our favorites, kind of came for us personally, made us the happiest or whatever it is playing. But PAX West had a lot of fantastic games, as well as the events around PAX West, too. There was the Mix, which has several games that are being shown at PAX West, but also other games as well, where we had a chance to check out Cat Secretary from Good Story Guild. They were at PAX East, but not showing at PAX West. There was Going to 6, Seattle Indie Expo, where both Sarah and I played a lot of cool games. I saw several deck builders there as well, including Cartomantic.
Negative Space was another deck builder there.
Yeah, I saw a great platformer in Ooze, where you are a gelatinous cube. You open gates by eating adventurers. And a typing beat-em-up called Keys of Fury. I can't begin to explain it beyond that. Just look it up. My God, it was fun.
I also played a strategy puzzle game called We Need an Army, that they were like, if you like Peglin, play this. And I was like, oh no, it wasn't quite that, but I did have a good time. I played a game called The Maze Gallery, which was a narrative text adventure basically on a web page trying to escape a museum. I believe it's available and you can just do that. It was a ton of fun. And then I played a game that came from me specifically called Bubble Beast Digi Dungeon, which was a bust-a-move style rhythm game that was just a blast.
Even on the floor of PAX, playing some of the other deck builders, I got to try out Muffle's Life Sentence, which is more of a RPG Maker style RPG that uses deck building as the battle mechanic, which was very fun, and I look forward to trying out more. And I also played Glitch Spanker at the same booth. It was Black Lantern Collective, which had been featured on 6-1 Indie before.
Level Lost, that you'll hear us do an interview with, had the best marketing campaign of any game I've ever seen at one of these conventions. We'll talk about it a little more on the interview.
Oh, definitely.
But they are another point-and-click narrative style adventure that defies the genre and your expectations of it. We also played Embroideryvania, a game that came specifically for me. Their ethos is bring your own non-gamer. You don't have to have any experience playing a game. There's not too much that happens within the game. You're just jumping around as snails and you're getting new things to put on your back. And that's the game. And it was lovely. And I can't wait to bring that to all the 4-year-olds in my life who are going, I'm doing it, while playing Katamari and not really doing it at all. We also played the most chaotic on-the-floor con version of Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions.
Yep.
We brought a group of 4 to what we assumed was a co-op game, and it was, but the demo was actually set up for one person from the booth and one person from the con to come play it so they can show you what to do. And we roll up and we're like, nah, set it up for 4. We're going to be fine. And had a chaotic, silly time where we literally got the MacGuffin to the place in our last 10 seconds.
So what you're saying is we succeeded at the mission.
Oh, we absolutely did. But it was chaos and silly, and we had a good time.
And it's a live service game that I actually really like the ethos behind it, but that'll come up a little more in our interview with Adam.
Yep. And then the last game I want to shout out is Draco and the Seven Scales. Almost in my top 5. It's really my very close number 6. Top-down Zelda-style adventure, solving puzzles, beating bosses, good vibes.
There's traversal both for you on foot and on your pirate ship.
Oh, yeah. The pirate ship also shoots cannons, big cannon and little cannon.
Ooh, I like big cannon.
Yeah, you had to go get the big cannon with the little cannon, but yeah, you got big cannon.
We got to check out a lot of great games. We learned a lot of stuff, like apparently I haven't played a ton of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I hope that the recording from that panel is out there somewhere, because all the panelists on this panel definitely played Tears of the Kingdom.
Absolutely. Why would we lie about that? I played Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Did I finish Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? You didn't ask me that. You asked that I play it. Yes, I did. And now I'll have my opinions. I think I made an entire room of people mad at me, and I didn't know I needed that in my life.
You did great.
Thanks, dear.
And importantly, you won the PAX panel show once again.
I did. This is becoming a thing, and I only fear what my inevitable fall will look like. Hopefully hilarious.
Oh, I think it's going to be Jenna making an entire, you're going to be the Brennan Lee Mulligan of PAX panel show, and she's going to pick all things she knows you don't know.
Oh, that'll be so fun. I want that to happen.
I definitely wouldn't help her if she asked me. Wink, wink.
Well, I don't know what you heard here, but you heard it here. All in all, it was a very fun and very chaotic PAX West this year in 2025. There's plenty of games that we are excited about, excited to see, and we hope you'll check a few of them out because we want to talk about them with you. Did you check out PAX West 2025? Were you there? Did you say hi? Hi back. Were there games that you checked out that you're excited about that we didn't talk about? Are there cool games that are kind of showing up on the Steam list? There's games that are coming up that are going to be on Steam sales, going to be on Steam Next Fest in February. This is sort of the beginning of the crest of the wave of a lot of great games that are going to be coming out, I think. Sarah and I played plenty and talked about plenty, but there's so many more, so let us know. Get in touch with us. There's so many great ways to reach out. We are Fun and Games Pod across all social media that we are active upon as of this episode, which is Blue Sky, Instagram, and Tumblr. We are funandgamespod@gmail.com. Email us. Let us know what you thought of this episode, what you thought of previous episodes, what you'd like us to talk about, and who you'd like us to talk with on future episodes. You can visit certainpov.com and find not only other fantastic Certain POV podcasts, but also a permanent invite link to our Discord server where a lot of these conversations continue, a lot of trailers get posted, and a lot of just strange ideas get exchanged. If you like what we do here and want to support us and have the means to, flying to PAX ain't cheap. We do have a Patreon, patreon.com/funandgamespod. There is a free tier, so you don't have to give any money to have access to the RSS feed or to take part in the polls for what our next console retrospective could be, or to have a one-stop shop on all the things Matt and I are working on. But we do appreciate all of the support that we do receive. And we do want to shout out those on the high scoreboard. Today, the high scoreboard is Alex Lavelle, Case Aiken, Daniel Nyden, Alejandro Alves, Chris Copleen, Curly Bright, Film It Yourself, Patrick Edwards, Robert Prine, and Sean Bowen. Thank you so much for your support. Please enter your initials. The show floor closed a week ago, so they'll be releasing the trucks soon to chase you down. I'm very sorry. A great way to support the show as well that requires no money, requires signing up for nothing that you didn't already, is to leave us a rating and review on your podcast platform of choice. Apple, Spotify, wherever it is, all of those help out. It pushes us up that little SEO game, so when people look up PAX West 2025 coverage, they'll find us here. They'll find me and Sarah talking about games. Sarah, thank you so much for joining me for this recap.
Of course.
And Thank you, everyone, for listening. Whether you only check us out for the PAX recaps, whether you have all sorts of games that you need to tell us about, or if this is your first episode of Fun and Games. Thank you so much for listening. We couldn't do this without you. This is a conversation. Thank you for being a part of it. I'm Geoff Moonen.
And I'm Sarah Moonen.
Enjoy the interviews, and happy gaming. We are at the Buffalo booth, and Sarah just got to play Fresh Tracks for the first time, the skiing alpine rhythm roguelike adventure game.
Whole mouthful. This is what indie games are nowadays. How many hyphens can we stick in here?
Not enough.
Yeah, exactly. And we are joined by Nick, the level designer for Fresh Tracks. And Fresh Tracks came out just a few days ago, didn't it?
It did. Came out on August 26th, so just 2-3 days ago now.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Nick, what can you tell our listeners about Fresh Tracks?
So Fresh Tracks is a rhythm roguelike on skis. So it's a whole mouthful. What does that actually mean? Unlike traditional rhythm games, which are more of jukebox style. So if you're thinking about Guitar Hero, which is more of you pick a song from a menu, you play it once and then you return. This is instead a endless jukebox set where you keep going song after song after song to complete runs to finish a story, as you do in games like Hades. The emphasis is definitely on the rhythm aspect because there are 28 original tracks, all composed just for Fresh Tracks across a wide variety of genres, anywhere from electropop to European dance house, to rock, to rap, to even Mongolian throat singing and a musical theater track as well. So you get pretty much everything that you want in between. There are 4 unique narrators, each with their own individual styles of storytelling and musical genres attached. So depending on which narrator you select at the beginning of your adventure, it will dictate the types of levels that you will encounter over the course of a playthrough.
That sort of mythology style of it put to mind for me Sayonara Wild Hearts, that kind of like narration and a little bit of myth and magic on top of everything as you traverse a sort of rhythmic story. Now, how long would a playthrough take for folks if they were to do a complete successful one?
Depends on how cracked you are at rhythm games. I think minimum is about 5 to 6 hours to complete it without dying a single time.
Wow.
That's a ton of story.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of Fresh Tracks in there.
That's amazing. And look, the music was such a bop. And the control scheme really helped with that. You move to the music, even though I was just playing on controller, made me feel like I was moving with the skier.
What we wanted to especially enter into our players is that feeling of motion with rhythm.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the movements or mechanics in our game are based off of any movement in real life, right? You're leaning, you're ducking, you're jumping. That inherently makes you feel like you're in time with the rhythm too. And I've seen so many, I still do it too. When I'm playing the game, like I'm moving around, like I'll have a constant motion of leaning and ducking and jumping all at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, I sure
And
was.
it feels natural too. There's a lot to do, right? I think the biggest challenge for us was leaning in flat screen. Because it's not a common mechanic you see in games, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's very intuitive to move to the right, move to the left, jump up, jump down. But how often do you see a lean? Good thing, though, is you learn it after a couple of tries, which goes really well with the roguelike aspect of the game, because you will learn the mechanics over time and get more familiar with that movement structure.
And the roguelike structure of it is more in the sequence of stages, not necessarily if you are doing this specific song, this specific segment, it is the same sort of chart every time.
So every single level is built by us. It's not pre-generated like in Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Right.
But it's in the order that they appear. It kind of comes and goes. Like you could encounter a green or a blue.
You shuffle the cards, as it were.
Exactly.
The stages are cards, and you shuffle that, and that's how it's dealt.
Yeah, and I got a
Exactly.
choice every time, right?
Yeah.
It said I can go like to this medium course, or I could go to this hard course, or I could go to and
Exactly.
so I could pick it. But if I want to really learn this song, I can keep getting good at that song, which
Exactly.
is how I rhythm game, and I obsess about the same one over and over again. So thank you for giving me that ability. I will get good.
There you go.
Each of the stages on their own have that arcade, like, do it one more time, whatever. Are you sort of designing the motion, the race, the movement of it, or is it like set choreography? Like you get the track and go, all right, what's the stage?
I would say that's the closest to how I do it. I always get the track completed during development. And so we have like a set story set out for us already. And what I try to do is do active listening to feel how I can emphasize those themes. I think my favorite example of it is Still Mountain, which is where you're floating basically on top of a peak. And the way the music works with that is like built towards that monumentality. And all of the game design elements for me was like, I want to build towards that sense. So how do I achieve that? And I have a lot of like flexible game design tools where I can kind of like make my own little playground of how to achieve that vision.
You know, all of us have listened to really cool music and gone, man, this would make for the coolest boss fight ever. And I would imagine it going like this. You get to do that.
Exactly. I was very surprised when I get it. I'm like, this feels very natural too. Because these songs, they're so good where it makes me able to really feel out what their kind of vision is just by listening to it. All I'm is like the vessel for trying to bring out the best in these levels.
Amazing. If any of our listeners suddenly, this is their first time hearing about Fresh Tracks and need to get it, and you should get it, where can they pick it up?
So right now, Fresh Tracks is out on PlayStation 5, Steam, or PC. I think we're on Epic Games Store now as well, and soon to be Xbox too. Hopefully we'll be on Nintendo soon, but we'll see how Nintendo plays with us.
A common refrain, but
I was going to say, we hear that a lot.
You hear that a lot, okay. But basically, again, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
Fantastic. Well, Nick, this is an amazing game. I hope you're as proud of it as it deserves, because this is fantastic. Everybody needs to check it out. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us here.
And thank you so much for having me, guys.
Well, it wouldn't be PAX if we didn't visit the DreadXP booth, and I just got done playing The Secret of Weepstone, and we are here with Sean and Hunter, who are arguing over who's more responsible for what, but really, these are the people behind it. Hunter, you showed me a little bit about this back at East, and I've been chomping at the bit to get to try this. What can you tell our listeners about The Secret of Weepstone?
I can tell you that Sean should go first. I like Sean starting the pitch because it was his idea initially, so I think it makes sense.
Secret of Weepstone was inspired by the art of the late 70s and early 80s D&D books, which has always been my favorite art style. Not just the look of those Advanced Dungeons & Dragons books, but also just the vibe and the feel of what it was like to play during that time.
Yeah.
And we've played every version of D&D, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah.
So the vibe, for example, in old school D&D or OSR, there's going to be character death.
Yeah.
You're going to have characters die, and it was part of the fun. Some of my favorite stories were when somebody died. Whereas I would say, in modern day D&D, you don't see a lot of character death. It's just not part of the game really as much.
Of course, it's not universal. Sean's right that you don't see as much character death. There are parties who are still playing like total slogs, right? But
yeah, meat grinders still exist, but
Yeah.
you're right. But kind of the D&D that they put forth is one that's very individualistic, heroic fantasy.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I should clarify, I'm talking just about specifically D&D.
Right.
There's plenty of tabletop games out there that do have character death as a big part of the game.
Character death is a lot harder to have happen accidentally in, say, 5th edition than it is in BX.
When one talks about not just the systems of Dungeons and Dragons, but the landscape of Dungeons and Dragons adaptations and D&D-like adventures in video games, this dovetails nicely into sort of the 800-pound elephant, ape, gorilla in the room, Baldur's Gate 3, which is very much a 5th edition style kind of thing, where this definitely is, I would say, equal, but OSR. Those are the aesthetics and ideas of modern gaming. This is the aesthetics and style of an OSR adventure, one where if somebody wants to play in this playground, in this style, they want ink and paper. They want cross-hatching. They want a grid map that they are drawing themselves.
Going into it, we want to recreate this experience and this vibe and whatever, but this isn't a replacement for tabletop D&D.
No, of course not.
That is its own thing we still love. But this is a different way to experience what OSR might have been like. And it's single player, so for someone who doesn't have a group that wants to run one of these OSR adventures, this is a way to get a similar experience.
Which is why those dungeon crawl games and why something like Baldur's Gate or any of these others succeed, because Sarah and I did a playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. It was basically like getting to have our campaign without having to worry about scheduling.
When you talk to people about D&D, there's like a pretty common thing you hear. I'd love to play D&D, but I just never found a group. Baldur's Gate is amazing for if you like 5e, right? Like you're getting to understand the mechanical system. But this is very much that for hey man, if you really wished you could have played with your friends in the 80s, the goal for us is to create the same feeling of it's not a copy. It is a facsimile made from love.
I was actually shocked when I started playing. I fully expected the WASD controls to be grid-based.
It started that way. Yeah. Very, very first prototype was a gridder in the style of Legend of Grimrock.
And you pull up the map and it's in a digest style adventure and the map fills in. And I have drawn so many of those maps doing dungeon crawls with friends.
I've always loved grid paper. It's, that's been a big inspiration for me. And I tried to get that into every touch point. Bringing up the map, it starts with the module closed, because I wanted that hit of that module cover because it just makes me happy to see it.
I mean, that's the point, right? Those are grace notes. They're not necessary for the game to function, but they're necessary for it to be the game that Sean and I want it to be.
We talk all the time, being almost 40, it's like the best thing in the world because all the people who liked the games we liked are making games now and are doing exactly that. They're like, here's my love letter to this thing that I liked and making it better. And this really feels like a love letter to the classic D&D, which who knew it was going to be as big as it is right now, filling football stadiums and crazy shit like that.
It is a love letter, and at the same time, we're not beholden to doing everything the exact same.
It's not like a slavish devotion.
It's not a slavish devotion, exactly.
This is not a game that perfectly replicates the mechanical experience of opening that rule book and then following all the... It's what it's like to sit down at a table with people you enjoy playing with a dungeon master who wants you to have a good time but also will kill you if you deserve it. You walk away with the right feeling.
I would say you succeeded, at least from what we saw from the demo. Where can people find it? What are you doing with it? All those logistical questions.
So it's up on Steam right now for wishlist, which of course, please do that. Talesworth Game Studio, I have a Discord as well, so please come there and we talk about it there and get news there. The DreadX Discord is a great place to get news from.
Yeah, DreadXP.com is recently updated, so we have all of our links and stuff there. We also have social media. DreadXP is pretty easy to spell. It's the word dread followed by X and P. It's cool.
I'm looking forward to playing more, and I hope anyone who listens to this, wishlists the game, checks out the demo, and maybe one day together we will find the secret of Weepstone. We all just finished playing Starseeker Astroneer Expedition. I say all of us because it wasn't just me and Sarah. We are also joined by Jacob and Trina.
Hello.
Hi.
And we are here talking to Adam, the creative director, head of the company, and just a general all-around good guy. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
I appreciate it. I have to say that was definitely my favorite session so far at PAX.
That was
awesome. It was so good.
That was chaos.
We are nothing but chaos.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, we found out that Starseeker, the demo and everything, was up to 4 players, so we made sure to grab 4 players. You just got to watch us faff about while trying to complete our missions here.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch how right at the beginning you all kind of scattered and went your own directions, and then you all kind of figured out, actually, maybe we should work together a little bit.
Well, given that only one of us here, the Trino's the only one who's familiar with Astroneer at all, what can you tell our listeners about Starseeker?
So Starseeker is the next game in the Astroneer franchise. It is us really going after our ambitions to make something that feels like really hopeful science fiction, and one of the ways we want to do that is by making a game that should feel massively connected, this idea that we are all actually on the same team together. So regardless if you log in to play by yourself or play with your friends or with the community that you're a part of, the things that you do and the objectives that you complete and the progress that you go through contributes to that larger narrative, that larger team effort that's going on. And the space station is a literal and figurative vessel that we use to engage our audience in that way. So there are screens all over the station that has live information that says exactly where we are as the Astroneers, how we're doing with our progress with our larger mission. Over the course of months, season by season, as the Astroneers, we collect something called stellar residua, and that's one of the resources that you'll find on every single planet that's in our galaxy. And we use that as like fuel for the Rift engine to then be able to charge up our Rift technology on the Starseeker and then jump to the next location. So as we jump around the galaxy, we're also explorers. So we're going to embark on these expeditions and explore every single planet. And just like an Astroneer, our planets are completely spherical. You can walk all the way around them, but you can also go all the way through them just like an Astroneer as well. One of the things that we're really having a lot of fun with is this idea of it being a cooperative experience at the very top level. Even if the 4 of us were to jump in to embark on an expedition, there's actually going to be at least 2 other squads on the planet elsewhere that are also doing their own thing. And the field missions that we come across, the looting that we might do, it's all being designed to be cooperative.
One of my favorite things about Astroneer in general is like you can just modify the terrain and create bridges, and I've seen like some very creative designs of people building just like sculptures and stuff with the tools and stuff too. So
yeah, Starseeker is a much more action-oriented focused game. This time around there's going to be different nozzles that you can equip on your exo tool to then interact with terrain in different ways. And I don't know if you've all felt it or noticed it. You might have noticed it as an Astroneer player. There's a lot more of what you played today in our planet was actually handcrafted, even though we're still using voxel technology. So we don't use procedural generation where every time you jump down it's a new planet every time. This is a handcrafted experience. The very first thing we ever did as a test for this was one of the beans from Among Us. We like brought the character in. So we had a giant mountain that looked like the Among Us character just to prove out that technology.
One of the things that was most interesting to me is I'm so used to fighting things in games, right? And these tools are not really meant for fighting. They're meant to like move the enemies around.
Yeah, as Astroneers, we're not space jerks. Like we're not there to just like mess up the planet, kill everything that we can see in sight. And the analogy that I love to share all the time is that a hammer is a tool until you hit somebody over the head with it. And so all of our tools kind of function in the same way, where they have a practical application as an astroneer, as an explorer, as somebody that's trying to do research and discover things, but they also have systemic relations to everything else in the world.
So Starseeker Astroneer Expedition is a live service game that is online multiplayer. What is the scale for the simultaneous play?
We're shooting for about 100 players on the space station, and that's really just to reinforce the idea that everybody that plays this game is on the same team. And then you and 3 other friends will embark as a squad that'll go down to the planets for expeditions with about 2 other squads. We're actually testing with 3 squads right now, but you can imagine 4 groups of 4 people all interacting with physics on a spherical gravity planet. It gets a little chaotic right now, so we're trying to tune it so it's the most amount of fun. I have a huge chip on my shoulder as one of the founders of the company. I really care about agency over the experience that you have. And so as a live service game, I don't care if you give us 2 hours a month, 2 hours a week, or 2 hours a day. We don't want you to have that pressure where like, oh, it's a live service game. I have to like be logging in every day or I'm not going to get the full experience.
Got to do your dailies. Got to get enough of the terraforming done.
Exactly. And like I play enough of those to know that like I don't want system errors games to do that. Why are we doing a live service game? It's because we want to be able to sustain it over time. We want to be able to support it and its players with new content, new things to do. And because we care so much also about that journey that the Starseeker is going to go on, having some monetization inside of there, some way of sustaining ourselves as a development team is really important. So we are technically a live service game, but we really want to take a really good ethical approach on that. Like I said, that's the chip on my shoulder, and I hope we can knock that out of the park as time goes on.
That sounds fantastic. So what is the current release schedule timeline for the game?
We haven't announced the date just yet. It is shooting for spring 2026. You can wishlist this right now on Steam. You can participate in a beta that we have coming up in a few months, and you can join that through our Discord. I think we're close to like 100,000 members right now. It's been doing really, really good. Just like Astroneer, we eventually want to be out on every single platform that we can be out on. But when and how that looks like, we'll announce later. We are Starseeker Game on all socials, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram. Same thing if you're an Astroneer player, it's Astroneer Game on all those as well. And then starseekergame.com.
Fantastic. Well, it was a lot of fun. It was great to check out, and I hope more people check it out. And it looks like you're already having a great weekend. Adam, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah, y'all are great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are at the No Sequels Cooperative booth. Sarah and I just played a little bit of Embroideryvania. We had some time to chat with Joanna, who will be on a future episode of the podcast, and we are also joined by Fox, developer and creative mind behind a lot of what goes on here as well. Thank you both for chatting with us for a few minutes here.
Thank you for having us.
Everyone we know who is at PAX sent us this email because they know that I'm a crafter and that I had to come play this game. So talk to me about where this came from, how you do this, and if you made it specifically for me.
I am so happy to hear that people are finding this and they're like, yes, I need to tell my embroidery textile friends.
I was exploring botanical plant life when this game was in its genesis. I was also making a lot of sewing projects, so embroidery just felt like a natural bridge to get into. When snails came about to be our protagonists, we just connected the dots and the world felt really alive. We wanted to make something that will be timeless and incorporate different aspects of embroidery without necessarily being like you are playing on a tapestry that's like printed somewhere.
We care about art preservation, heritage, and we wanted to do like a little wink to the textile arts of Greece and the Balkans, as we are a Greek-American studio.
Something that struck me about our time with Embroideryvania is, much like with crafting, there isn't necessarily a fail state going on here.
This felt in many ways like trying to mimic not necessarily embroidery that you would imagine if you're thinking about it. This is more about plant life and being snails exploring this plant world, and nature has a lot more overlapping, disconnected lines, and things are clashing with each other. We, for the most part, really wanted to have that feeling of getting lost, and that getting lost as a snail is okay. You will just find your way when you just go to the next world.
And getting lost might even help you find something really cute to put on your back because you ended up somewhere you didn't expect.
Exactly. There are 10 biomes to explore. Each one is focused on a different plant family, and we have picked plant families based on how common they are. So many of them are in the thousands of species. So if you visited a biome and you have collected the tapestries that you get in the game, you will be kind of learning the skills to identify them, and hopefully on the next walk you'll be like, oh, I actually know what kind of plant family this is.
Yeah, Joanna, you mentioned to us that there's like an educational aspect.
It is really important to us to bring people together in real life, and it is really important to us to create experiences that stay with people. We want you to have a fun experience that you can share ideally with your non-gamer or any other friend of yours in your life, and then when you go back into the world, you can apply something that you learned in real life.
Talk to us about your non-gamer and your cool new acronym.
Yeah, so it's actually based on a true story. So bring your own non-gamer, that's what Byong stands for. The whole studio happened actually because I learned how to play games as a grown-up. I was in my early 30s when I picked up a controller. Again, the last time I played games was when I was 9 years old or something. There were tears of frustration trying to learn how to navigate in a game, because even though there is a tutorial, the assumption is that the person holding the controller is a gamer.
Yeah.
So they make a really complicated control scheme. So we were basically making the games that I needed when I started gaming as a grown-up. Directionals, one input, you jump. Maybe there's like one more input that you can use. But the idea is that we can be someone's first game.
And we were talking about it being age accessible as well. So we have a lot of kids in our lives. And so having accessible ways to get into gaming where it's something interesting, and me as an adult who's a gamer can also have fun.
I don't think there are any split-screen Metroidvanias that you can explore in this fashion. That was a big thing that we wanted to accomplish, which is make something that's fun. A lot of time that has to do with the game's runtime. We're trying to make it 2 hours. Something you can sit down and enjoy and like feel that sense of accomplishment, because for a new player, the idea of like, oh, let's explore an amazing narrative for 10 hours is very daunting.
Yeah.
But when you feel like, oh, I finished the game, I've accomplished something, they walk away with a very different experience. We put out a 3-minute demo. The average playtime is like over 20 minutes. We are not really sure what people are doing, but they're just vibing and
They're having a great time.
They're just vibing.
They're jumping around as snails, and they're equipping
Exactly.
a crystal ball on their back or an hourglass or something, and just seeing what they look like in this beautiful world. Talking about the full build of the game, what's your expected timeline? What platforms are you looking at?
We're definitely looking on all platforms. We know the game is going to come out, but it's a matter of when.
We are a new studio, and we are learning a lot as we are going along. We have had to adjust our timelines internally, but we are aiming for an early access build, maybe later this year.
Oh, wow, that's soon.
Yeah, later this year, maybe Q1 next year. We are aiming for a full cross-platform release, though we are learning that porting is an adventure.
Now, we tried the demo here. Is there anywhere that our listeners, if they're interested in this, can try the game out now?
The demo is currently available for PC on Steam and on itch.
Let's all lose some time to something beautiful here. Yeah, and I hope people out there check out No Sequels Cooperative's website to find out more and get updates on Embroideryvania and some of the other great things that we'll talk about on a later date. But thank you so much for taking a little bit of time this weekend to chat with us about this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We just got finished playing a lovely demo of No Stone Unturned, the comedy, murder, mystery, thriller, what have you, from Wise Monkey Entertainment. And we're here with Gareth, the main creative force behind the game. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what can you tell our listeners about No Stone Unturned?
It's a murder mystery that asks, why did the chicken cross the road? It's 20 to 25 hours long. You play as Detective Cox, who's an amnesiac squirrel set on answering that question. And in doing that, you solve 5 other smaller cases that take you around a limited open world.
That's so exciting. Now, tell our listeners a little bit about your background. What brought you to create this game?
Yeah, sure. So I have been doing murder mystery my entire life. Both of my parents are police detectives, so it was naturally a progression of my life. From around like 6, I started loving the genre and watching it and engaging in it. And then around 12, I decided I wanted to do it as my career. So I lied about my age in order to get screenwriting jobs. It was around the time that Facebook needed you to be 13 to join, and I was 12, so I decided to be 35, obviously.
Obviously.
Of course.
Everybody would do that.
Well, yeah.
From that, I got more and more into what I now do, which is covert ghostwriting. So I write murder mystery for either film, TV, books, escape rooms, and one theme park. This is my first debut into video games as a genre. I've written a little bit for some video games, but never to the extent of creating a full story for one. Trying to fill out an open world environment with characters that have their own feelings and thoughts. It's another level of challenge.
And you're actually going to put your name on this one, yeah?
Definitely. This is I'm going to plaster my name everywhere if I can.
Well, in writing for an interactive medium like video games, yeah, half the fun of all murder mysteries is as a reader, as a viewer, trying to solve it along with the detective, trying to get to that conclusion. And here you kind of get every moment, every second, a chance for people to check back in. And as you were saying, kind of both reward and lightly mock the choices that people make.
Yes, exactly. The ability to anticipate what someone's going to do as well as what someone will think is a new level of being able to understand the audience. I love coming here and getting to see people play it because it reminds me why I'm doing it. I want to make people laugh. I want to make people feel things. And at the same time, I want to mock them when they try and beat me.
And with Detective Cox and No Stone Unturned, you can have a lot of fun of being, we're not at that part of the game yet, kind of idea.
He breaks the fourth wall a lot. He's aware of the fact that he's in a story, the fact he's the hero, and he acts like he knows he's the hero. You, in many ways, are his Watson sidekick, but he is an idiot. So you are the real Sherlock, and he is this kind of person who's catching up.
So how many times have people mentioned Disco Elysium to you during the process of this?
Today? I mean...
Let's start with today. Let's leave it there.
I'd say 4 or 5 times today.
And it is just barely afternoon, so we're doing great here.
Naturally, it gets tied into the idea of like Disco Elysium, LA Noire, Monkey Island, anything that is kind of leaning into that detective-y nature. One of the things you get to do in this game is everybody has an opinion on everybody. So you can go through your suspect roster and you can ask anybody about anybody else. So you get a lot of village gossip that's inspired by my village in the UK, the people looking out their windows and things like that. I wanted to do a little nod to that kind of charm of the UK village.
And I'm going to guess that not all of those narrators are reliable who are giving you this gossip, perhaps?
It's fair enough. Yeah, it's fair enough to assume. I think that many people will be lying to you for very different reasons, though. So only one will be lying to cover up the murder. And who knows, they might not even be doing that good of a job at it.
Looking at the demo being played right now, I know we're audio only, but we are looking at a staring contest with an old lady being played out like a game of Dance Dance Revolution. How many mini games are going to be in this?
Over 30 different types, but then they're going to be reskinned and reworked so that it'll feel bespoke every time. So I'd say it will feel like over 100, but it's actually 30.
Well, even just only 30 is quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's rather feature-rich. If our listeners are interested in checking out No Stone Unturned, and I think they should be, where can they check it out?
It's currently available for demo playing on PC and Mac on Steam, but we're going to be coming next year, sort of mid-next year, to everywhere. So it'll be Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, PlayStation, Xbox.
I look forward to uncovering more and having a very strange adventure with Detective Cox and the people of this village. Gareth, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you for having me.
We are at Skystone Games, and we are talking with David Brevik, CEO of Skystone?
I'm president of Skystone.
I'm very bad at corporate structure. Thank you for correcting me there. No, and thank you for taking some time to chat with us here.
Well, thanks for having me. It's wonderful.
What can you tell our listeners about Skystone Games?
Well, Skystone Games is a publisher that I started about 5 years ago with my partner, Bill Wang. Kind of focused originally on indie games, but have since branched out and now are doing everything from indie games to big kind of AAA games at this point.
What was the original mission idea or the impetus behind starting Skystone?
There are a lot of reasons. I've got a very lengthy career in which
Certainly do.
I've done a whole bunch of things, but one of the things I enjoy doing is I really enjoy helping other teams. The kind of premise behind Skystone was we're going to create a publisher where I can be a resource for indie developers and say, give them feedback or technical advice or whatever it is that they're looking for, give them production experience stories or whatever. I've got lots of friends in the industry, so hooking them up, we really need an animator or whatever, a technical artist. You know, a traditional publisher usually doesn't have development people like myself, and so that's really kind of what set us apart.
It's about problem solving, and it's running into you have one plan, you start with that, and then it all falls apart. Well, what do you do next?
It's really amazing. One of the things that's really, I don't think that a lot of people understand about game development is that every day you are making tons and tons of micro decisions that can have a huge impact on the outcome of the game. And you're doing this all kind of in a bubble. So it's just really nice to get outside perspectives, especially on small teams. Again, I'm not trying to take over the game. It's their creation. I'm just here to help. I think that all of that together creates kind of a real promising future for our products and for the games themselves. I think that together we can make something stronger.
passion does drive some of the best art and some of the best projects.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of passion, not to ask you to name your favorite kid, but what are your favorite projects that you're working on at Skystone right now?
Well, I mean, I think the Tiny Bookshop, which just came out about maybe 2 weeks ago or so, was just so much fun to work on. So I'm not a huge cozy gamer or whatever, but I fell in love with this game the moment that I played the demo. I was like, we have got to do this game. This game is going to be awesome. And maybe it's kind of the romantic notions of owning a bookstore or something like that, that it was like, oh, I just love the idea here because I'm just such a book nerd. And it was like, this just really resonates with me. And so and apparently it resonates with a lot of people because it's sold really well. So right now, that's really been something that we're really proud of and has really kind of resonated with myself and the rest of the team.
And so that was kind of the first so-called cozy game that you kind of brought in?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the games that we kind of look for, a lot of like RPG, roguelike, deep systems games, things like that, a lot of strategy and depth. And it turned out actually Tiny Bookshop does have quite a bit of depth in it. You start with this bookstore in a trailer and you move to a seaside town and you go to different locations. And which location you go to, they like different types of books. So you have to like manage your stock and buy the right things and go to the right places to kind of maximize your profit and unlock more story, learn more about the town and the people that are there and their kind of backstories. It's a really wonderful experience.
Looking at the other games that are right here by us as we do this interview, we've got Black Jacket and Arcane Eats that I see are both big card-based games, which
yeah,
is,
exactly.
For me, well, you were saying deep systems, you were saying that
right.
kind of idea. Blackjack and Arcane Eats look very different in their execution and aesthetic.
Yeah, absolutely. Blackjack in particular, we'll start with that one, is basically Balatro Blackjack, right? So the
okay. All right, cool.
I'm sold.
Sign me up.
But the theming is really cool too. It's really dark. You've got to play for your soul, your coins for your soul, kind of playing the ferryman. It's got kind of a real dark, creepy kind of aesthetic, and the cards are kind of dark shading on them and kind of like arcane drawings and things like that. Unveil the story as you go and whatnot, but also has this kind of interesting atmosphere and story. And then we also have Arcane Eats, which is a different style of deck builder. It's not just a roguelike deck builder, but it's also a cooking game. It's both. And instead of destroying your enemies with swords, you instead feed them. And so you open kind of a medieval cafe and you've got goblins and things that come in and you have to feed them. And they've got different types of food that they're looking for, different chefs to choose from, basically different decks and different styles of play. End up cooking different types of meals and ensuring that you kind of get through the day and please all your customers. Combat on a different way by feeding rather than destroying.
Given that you have this history, not just in the games industry, but with gaming itself, what are some of the things that you see from where you are now that you're really enjoying about the indie space, the development space, games design?
What I like the most is I feel like there are more voices that can be heard from around the world right now than ever before. And totally unique games that come from a different sense of culture or different perspective. And I really enjoy seeing some of these games come out and tell a story in a different way or show us the way that they see games and the way that they want to tell their tale. And I think that that's wonderful. I think that's great. And that's one of the strengths of the industry.
We are each lenses of experience. And
absolutely.
It's so good to get to see that. And it's great that Skystone is a place that some of that can get supported, can get developed.
Absolutely.
We didn't actually talk about where people should follow you and stay in the mix with Skystone. Is there Discord? Is there a website? Where should
we have our skystone.games website, and that's probably the best way to get our updates. But we can follow our publisher page on Steam and some other things like that to get any kind of updates.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, we've got these games here at PAX West right now to try out. You said Tiny Bookshop has came out recently.
Yes.
What about Black Jacket and Arcane Eats? What are the timelines on those?
We don't have exact dates yet, but it'll be next year.
If anybody's interested in either of those games, can they demo them now?
Yes, yeah. There's a new updated demo coming for Arcane Eats pretty soon. Black Jacket, we just kind of announced that. They both have Steam pages. You can go wishlist them, and when the demos are ready, then everybody can download and play.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully everyone checks those out, follows Skystone on Steam so that when the next cool game, the next great idea comes up, they'll hear about it as soon as they can and as soon as it's
absolutely.
up there. David, Mr. Brevik, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us
today.
today.
It was fun.
We are currently at the Oink Games booth, and while we normally run into them when we go to Gen Con or PAX Unplugged, we're very excited to see them here at PAX West. And we are joined by Jun Sasaki, the CEO of Oink Games, and Yuto will be helping us out with translations as well. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
We were both very surprised to find you guys here. We unfortunately did not know that Oink Games has been doing so much video game development. We knew about Let's Play Oink Games across all of the different platforms so that people can play a lot of these fantastic board and card games that are deservedly well beloved. But we're also here and we see two other titles. What can you tell us about what we have here?
はい、ビデオゲームは昔から作っていて、ボードゲームの方が先に世界に知られるようになったんですけど、これからどんどんビデオゲームも知られていってほしいなと思っています。
So actually, we've been developing video games since the beginning. He started at the video game company. I met him at the big video game company. We are now well known for board games, but we are hoping that people will notice that we do also video games as well.
Very good, very good. Now, I understand the early titles were more mobile games, yes? Chillin' by the Fire, that one was absolutely fascinating. Again, a lot of cozy games are a thing nowadays, but this seems like such a unique experience that truly the title, it fits well. What can you tell me about that title?
はい、これは焚き火の面白さを、ビデオゲームでも再現したゲームで、焚き火っていろんなそのゲーム性があると思うんですけど、そのある種パズル的な面白さをビデオゲームにしたゲームそのままですね。はい。
So, Chilling by the Fire is a game where we try to recreate the experience that you do with the actual fire. There's a lot of elements that you can enjoy when you build an actual fire. So, Chilling by the Fire sounds like it's chilling, but it's a lot of work in the beginning. Like making a fire or building a fire, it can be challenging.
Yes, it can.
So, we were trying to recreate the experience that you do with actual fire using Switch 2 platform.
Now, is that single player or does that have multiplayer possibilities?
You can play solo or you can also play with people online or locally.
Online and offline.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, something I enjoy about Oink Games and the card games and board games is that sense of many people, multiplayer. You can have several people. Let's Play Oink Games goes up to 8 players. Yeah, stressful but chill. Social but so much is very cool. I suppose the question to ask on this is that also a big component in the video game development moving forward to continue that multiplayer aspect, that communal aspect?
そこにそんなにこだわりはないですけど、でもやっぱりみんなでゲームやるのはすごく面白いことだと思うんで、もしマルチプレイヤーでできるならそうしたいけど、全然一人で遊ぶゲームも好きだから、そこにそんなにこだわりはないですね。はい。そうですね。ビデオゲームは特に一人で遊べるっていうのもいいところだと思ってます。はい。
So, yes and no in a way. We do enjoy playing with multiple people. And so if the game suits that situation, then we try to implement that experience using video game. However, we are not specialized in making multiplayer game. And so if the game is more enjoyable solo, then we just make solo game.
Very good. Well, I believe Sappho looks a little more like one of those sort of solo games, yes?
Yes.
What can you tell us about Sappho?
このゲームは結構もう長い間作ってるんですけど、僕らの会社にいる平岡さんというイラストレーターの人の描く世界を、ゲームで再現していて、これもすごい非常にユニークな、なんていうのかな、昔からあるコマンド選択式の RPG とかのエッセンスを引き継ぎながら、かなり新しいゲームプレイがあって、でストーリーもしっかりある、すごいみんなに楽しんでもらえるタイトルになってるんじゃないかなと思います。今開発は大詰めです。はい。
So Sappho is a game where we've been spending quite many years developing the game. Mr. Hiroka, he's a graphic designer, and we are trying to create his world inside the game. This is kind of a classical game in a way. You select a command and then you choose your move and so on and so forth. It also comes with campaign mode where you see story. This is actually a story intense game where you can see the story behind each character and you have one big goal that you wanted to achieve in the game. We don't know when it's going to be released at this moment, but we are hoping in the near future it's going to come out.
Chilling by the Fire is currently out, yes?
Yeah, yes.
And if our listeners were interested in checking out Sappho, is there a Steam page? Is there a demo out that they can check out now?
あ、そうですね。もうゲーム部分はかなりできてるけど、今ストーリーの最後の部分に着手してるから、これがどれだけ大変かは僕らにもまだ分かっていないぐらいの。
So we don't have the demo yet or the Steam page yet, but the main core game has been mostly finished. We just need to finalize the campaign part story. We are trying to finish it as soon as possible, but we are not certain how long it's going to take to finish the story at this moment yet.
No
we
one
are hoping
knows.
to
That's okay.
Yeah. We are hoping to make it available as soon as possible.
Is there a mailing list or your website where people can stay posted for updates?
はい、今、X と Instagram はオープンしてて、そこに随時新しい情報を流すようにしてます。
So there's a X and an Instagram account that we post our updates regarding Sappho, and then we always use our main Oink X account to post about our new titles.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for taking the time to chat with us about this. These games look great. I mean, it caught our eye and it got us to have this conversation. So thank you both so much, and I hope our listeners check it out as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So walking the floor of PAX West, we were given some mail. It was apparently addressed to us, and that led us down a little bit of a trail of puzzles and ARG, and that is exactly Sarah's jam. So we had to return to sender, and we are now chatting with Harrison, the founder of FlatNine Games, which is developing Letter Lost, a sort of exploration game where you are making the mail happen and everything that sort of entails. Well, thank you for chatting with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. Yes, Letter Lost is a totally normal post office game where nothing weird ever happens.
Yeah, that was definitely my experience of playing the
Absolutely,
game. I drank some coffee, maybe ended up in another dimension, and then had like a green haze around me.
It
while
was a
I was
caffeine high. That's totally normal.
Oh, yeah,
totally
everybody
normal.
gets those.
Yeah,
Totally normal.
absolutely.
I see.
Yeah. We describe ourselves as Papers, Please meets Inscription, or if you don't know those games, we would say it's work sim meets escape room horror, or just another day at a normal job.
So what got you guys developing in this kind of a meta idea?
So my wife and I founded the company, and we actually are theater people from Minneapolis. We run a theater company, and we really love immersive engagement theater. We were trying to figure out how do we do that in video games, breaking the fourth wall, asking players to do things that they're not normally used to doing, like pressing the escape button to escape from the dungeon, interacting with online things. You know, at our booth at PAX, we handed you mail, and there was a live interactive portion there as well. We're just really excited about doing interesting and subversive things with our player base and engaging people in that way. I think the way that we've designed a lot of our, we'll call them puzzles, we're not really sure what else to call them. A customer will present you with an odd request, such as mailing to the dead, like a widow wants to mail to her dead husband. And if the player can figure out how to do that, and there's a variety of ways that could solve that sort of conundrum, we just want to offer the player a chance to experiment with their options, not necessarily to solve a puzzle, but just to find an outcome within that puzzle. It's sort of a mini improv theater, right? If you're handed a talking doll that asks you to mail it through the pneumatic tube, okay, you could do that. You could do what the doll tells you to do, but what if you throw it in the shredder instead, you know?
Who's to say you can trust the doll?
I don't know. That's up to you. I can't presume to tell you what to do with your mail. Just offering the player choices and rewarding them for exploring those choices is what we're really trying to do. I would say that there are intended, quote-unquote, ways to solve puzzles that will get you to the end, but there are other ways where maybe you could off-ramp onto shredding the doll, for instance, or finding clever ways to get around prompts that you're given. We do want to continue to reward those experiences, and I think that's just really fascinating to watch people problem solve while they're playing the game and figure those things out. Even though I'm not necessarily an experimentation person when it comes to puzzles either. I do exactly what I'm told with it and want to get the gold stamp, you know. But I love watching other people's brains and how they solve through those things.
This must be a very fun experience for you then, watching people both go through the game and try to figure out the letters that you've handed them. And
Absolutely, yeah. Part of your letter, I don't know if either of you opened the small envelope?
No, not the small envelope.
Oh, did you open the small envelope?
I was told never to open the small envelope.
Well, if you looked closely, the words on the letter, there were some words bolded that said, "You're ready, open the small envelope to learn more." So just watching people catch that and then open the small envelope, and that takes you down a different branching option. Or the people who just said, screw it, and opened the small envelope anyway without even seeing it.
Well, they were ready.
It's really fascinating to see. They saw, in all caps, "Do not open the small envelope," and they're like, yeah, I'm going for it. And
I followed the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people hold it up to the light or put their phone through it so they can read the other side.
Yeah.
Over the course of PAX, I think we're handing out 4,000 envelopes. So,
Goodness.
I don't know, maybe 2,500 of them will actually look at what's inside. That's 2,500 different ways to approach the puzzle, and it's fascinating.
It's parameters. It is. That is escape room design.
Yeah.
You have an end goal. How do you get there?
Yes. I'm glad you said that. Our lead puzzle designer builds and designs live escape rooms for his day job, so he approaches all these things with that exactly in mind.
Yeah, and it feels like that. I love something that
Great.
feels like it's a point-and-click adventure, an escape room,
Yes.
a Night Vale-style horror experience around you. Great job on the marketing. You certainly drew us in.
I appreciate it.
As part of that marketing effort, right, as part of solving this puzzle, I joined your Discord and wishlisted you on Steam, which, again, very smart to get everybody to do. How can folks find you?
So we are FlatNine Games. You can find us on our website, flatninegames.com. You can find Letter Lost is our first game. It'll be on Steam. If you want to engage with us at this point and engage with our game, we have an online ARG that is live right now. Phase 1 of it is live. Phase 2 should be launching within the next couple weeks here. Our demo should be launching within the next couple weeks, and then the game is planning to launch sometime around December.
Oh, amazing. And ambitious, just launching a couple weeks after being
terrifying.
here.
I'm sweating saying those words. So
Cool. Well, if that sounds enticing to anyone out there, be sure to check out Letter Lost. The page is up. The game is afoot. And check your inbox. There might be something there.
Oh, yeah. The mail never sleeps.
Hey, everybody. We are here with our friends at Atari, and specifically with our friend Sam, who we met 2 years ago at our first PAX West. Back then, Sam, what was your title that time?
I was a publishing coordinator. Now I am a release manager as of the beginning of this year.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
But that seems to be downplaying your role on this awesome Bubsy game that I just played. What's your role on that?
I am one of the producers on Bubsy 4D, the latest game in the Bubsy series.
That is so kick-ass, man. I'm really excited about that. And so now you were telling me a little bit, this is your idea?
Yeah, so we acquired the Bubsy IP along with a package of a bunch of other games in 2023, like the middle of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that and sort of went to everyone higher up on the food chain that I could. It was like, you don't understand. We need to make a new Bubsy. Please, I need to propose a new Bubsy game. Someone out there could make the first good Bubsy game. Now, I do say that, but I think the older Bubsy games are fine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of overreaction, right?
I definitely feel like the original older Bubsy games were fine.
They're
Definitely fine. They'd be well
I like
remembered.
them.
Yeah. And Bubsy 3D just kind of.
I think if it didn't come out or was revealed at the same time as Mario 64 and Crash Bandicoot, it would probably be remembered a little more fondly. Because if you play it and we're putting out the perfect collection in a week and a half, you can play it for yourself. You can see the intent behind all their design decisions because no one had made a 3D platformer before.
No.
But if you play it the way they expect you to play it, I think it's fine. It's pretty fun. It's a slow, methodical platformer.
So hopefully some folks will be picking up the perfect collection and can see that for themselves and actually getting that back out there. And Atari's always been about preserving the history of these and getting it out to people. So now we're moving that forward with 4D.
4D, yeah.
We have learned what to do with 3D movement. And Sarah, you just got done playing through the first stage, some tutorials of it.
Oh, man, this has been so much fun. I love a platformer. I love a collectathon. I love all those things, talking about some of those N64 games, like DK64 is one of my favorite games of all time. Again, not always remembered fondly either, like Bubsy.
I like Donkey Kong 64.
But this was so much fun. And, it's funny. I mentioned this before the interview, but a lot of us were talking about, Demon Tides from Fabraz Studios. This gave me the same joy that game did, and that was in my top 3 at East.
I was trying to be really good to the other people in line and let them play it, but all I wanted to do was go back and get those 26 balls that I missed and collect all the things in the first level because I didn't finish the first level.
And it's great signposting as far as how many yarn balls are in the stages. Is there a blueprint? What do you have in there, and what else is there to collect?
I did find the blueprint.
You did
Very
find the
importantly.
blueprint.
You did find the blueprint, yeah.
That's very important.
Talk to us a little bit about the lore of Bubsy. You were talking about some of the characters that are in this that were only in the comics.
Yeah.
And
A lot of bringing Bubsy back was how do we update this character and his like world for a modern audience. I don't think it was enough to just make a new Bubsy game. It's like we have to make a sincere, unironic new Bubsy game. Like, who is Bubsy? What are his friends like? What's the lore? Fabraz, they did a great job of like picking and choosing various aspects from all the different parts of the old Bubsy games. So you have his like niece and nephew in there. They're from like the second game. You have his friend Virgil in there. He's kind of from the second game. He was in the manual in like a comic book.
Good for him. He got an upgrade. He's in the game this time.
And then Oblivia, who wasn't even in a game at all up until this point. She was in like an animated pilot that aired once on television.
Oh, the one with Rob Paulson.
Rob Paulson was the voice. Yeah, they had a lot of famous voice actors in it. And even like aspects, so the Golden Fleece is like from an older Bubsy game. There's some references to even the later ones, like Paws on Fire. There's some like dialogue there. So it's picking aspects from everything and just treating it all with a level of like respect and unironically celebrating Bubsy.
Yeah, if you want the ironic comments, you leave that to Bubsy.
Exactly.
You treat the game, though, with some seriousness and let the humor shine.
Yes. Everyone at Fabraz is like hilariously funny. I think when we were first talking about it, they described it as like brilliant stupidity.
Yes.
Which is very fitting. It's like
that's ideal.
Bubsy's a little dumb, but he's very funny.
It's the like, I don't understand this complicated stuff, but I'm gonna have some wits.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're saying one of the jokes where it's like you open up the settings and he goes, Y-axis? Why am I looking at this?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of like fourth wall, but not like mean-spirited fourth wall breaking humor. We made a point to like avoid any like self-deprecating jokes or anything mean-spirited. It's just very, it's just like fun.
Bubsy has always been characterized by his confidence, his bravado even. So why would he be self-conscious about this? Why would he be self-deprecating? We're all here to have a good time.
It's pretty exciting and like wild to see all the reception everyone's had for this new Bubsy game. All the fan art that people have been making is insane. It was something we're hoping for, but we didn't expect it at the level that it's been received.
Well, congratulations, because not only is the game awesome, I'm really glad that it's bringing Bubsy back, which is what you wanted to do.
It's a wonderful use of the IP, and I feel like a lot of really cool games and really exciting games these days have been passionate people saying, you remember that concept, that game, that character. I know how you all feel about it. Let's make a good go of it and see it with new eyes. And we're getting that opportunity, and I hope a lot of other people check it out. But everybody can wish list it on Steam
Everyone
if they're...
wishes on Steam, every platform. I don't think the Switch pages are up right now, but it'll be like Switch 1 and the second Switch. Every platform, though, yeah.
Congrats, that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And estimated release date some point in 2026?
2026. I'm not sure like exactly when, but yeah, in 2026 for sure.
Well, we have to sign this off the only way that we can. Check it out. Enjoy the game. What could possibly go wrong?
Could possibly go wrong.
We are over by the PAX Rising Showcase, checking out a lot of stuff. It's Monday, so we've been getting a lot of recommendations, and we heard about RollerGirl from Pushing Vertices Studio, so we are chatting with Indigo, the director, creator of the game. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to chat with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
We've just been rocking out to your game, playing around. What can you tell our listeners about the game?
So the game is an adventure narrative game. It's about rollerblading in the 2000s as a 16-year-old girl. You have your MP3 player, which is full of music that has different playlists, and each playlist is associated with a different mood. So you have your happy mood, your middle, and your sad. And the playlists affect not only the visuals and the movement, but also the narrative. So you can be talking to someone in happy and get a different response than if you're talking to them in sad, which is really fun because it gives you sort of this multi-branched narrative that you can go through. The overall story is that you're 16, you're in your small town, you just got your first car, and of course it breaks down immediately after you get it. And so you're on your rollerblades and you talk to the mechanic and he tells you need a bunch of money and this specific car part before you can get your car fixed. So you start talking to your neighbors, they give you these small jobs that you can do to earn money. And while you're doing that, you also bump into these like cool teenagers who are like, yeah, we got what you need, but what are you going to do for us? And so you're working with them a little bit as well. And there's also a bit of a town mystery and some romance elements as well.
And now, is it any 16-year-old girl, or is it based? Yeah, I think you're telling me it was based on you. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So it's based on my life when I was 16. I was living in a small town in Canada, and I had my MP3 player, and I would rollerblade everywhere, forever, for like years. And I had a paper route that I did for like 6 years, and I would like go on that on rollerblades, and everyone just knew me as like that rollerblade girl. And so it was really fun to like make a game about myself and have the character like literally be me. It's been pretty cool.
Especially since, like Sarah was saying at the top here, like listening to music like that put us in a certain time and place too. And so even if the titular roller girl Naomi is more based on your experiences, I think everybody can find a little bit of themselves, a little bit of their own experience there and pull from.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that I found really interesting about the game, in addition to the fact that honestly, it's really pretty to look at, the art style changing when you listen to different music was very cool. I love that there were mini games essentially, right? Each person gives you a task. I love being told, take MacGuffin to X to get Y to do things. That's one of my favorite kinds of games. How many different types of experiences are there like that within the game?
Right now in the demo, we kind of have like 3 main quest lines that you can do. Ideally, during the whole game, there would be a lot more of these sort of like side quests on the way to fixing your car. The main idea is to kind of like get distracted and do a bunch of other stuff and just enjoy the journey before you finally get to that ending of fixing your car and like kind of driving off into the sunset. So ideally, there would be like, I don't even have a direct number, but like ideally like a lot more, like just jam-packed with just like a bunch of stuff that you can do that's just kind of like fun and wacky like that.
And you mentioned to me that as the game expands, it'll be on the same map, but there may be more people to interact with. I think that's really interesting as well.
Yeah. So like right now we think we have like 4 or 5 people, and ideally we'd have at least like 5 more. They would have kind of like their own little storylines, but also be intertwined as well. And like to hint at the town mystery, the idea is that like a lot of the people have like a little aspect of the town mystery that they know, but they don't know about the other people's involvement. So when you do like find it all and you put it all together, it's like, oh wow, like everyone was in on this a little bit. So it kind of just like adds to the depth of the story.
Yeah, we need to know who's been sending those nasty letters.
Exactly.
And everybody's got opinions on everybody, whether they're accurate or not. Like they are feeling very strongly about it. And that's neighborhood life, absolutely.
Exactly, yeah.
So the demo that we played today is not available yet for folks?
Not yet, no.
But it will be.
It will be soon. Not this exact one. We are aiming to like clean up any of the little bugs that we've seen and maybe add a few more details. But ideally, it would be coming soon on Steam.
That's awesome. And do you have release plans as well?
So we do have hopes to release it late next year, but I don't want to say anything final just because we are like,
we won't hold you to it.
Yeah, very dependent on the budget right now.
All right. Well, is there a Steam page already that our listeners can go and check out?
Yeah, so it is on Steam. It's just RollerGirl, and we're on a bunch of socials as well as at RollerGirl Game.
Fantastic. Well, I hope folks check it out, and I'm looking forward to listening to more of the tunes. There were 5 or so on the MP3 player initially.
I found some more wandering around town.
Yes.
Then there's already plenty to find, and there'll be plenty more to find. So, Indigo,
sure.
thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you.
I'm Nick Spanos. I'm a level designer and producer at Buffalo.
This is Sean Gailey from Talesworth Game Studio.
This is Hunter Bond from DreadXP and Talesworth.
I'm Adam Bermel from Systemera.
I'm Trina Smith from the Gamerheads podcast.
I'm Jacob McCourt from Crossplay Conversations.
This is Joanna Nastos from No Sequels Cooperative.
I'm Gareth Owens, Wise Monkey Entertainment.
This is David Brevik, Skystone Games.
Jun Oink Games.
Yuto, Oink Games.
Harrison Wade, I'm from FlatNine Games.
I'm Sam, I'm from Atari.
This is Indigo Doyle with Pushing Vertices.
Happy gaming.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.